Overnight, Israel identifying 2 more hostages from Gaza, including the last female held in Gaza after Hamas murdered her at the Nova Festival. And an IDF sergeant who died fighting for Israel when Hamas murdered him on October 7th. He leaves behind 13 children, but there are still 19 bodies left, and Hamas claims it needs special equipment to get them out. Meanwhile, they're wasting no time executing Gaza's civilians as Hamas in cold blood. How do we know? They put it on camera. They're proud of it. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Mike Waltz, is all over this and joins us now. Great to see you, Ambassador.
Good to be with you, Brian.
Your thoughts about what we witnessed yesterday, 32 people being executed by Hamas, and the president saying, you know, we're going to take your guns, whether you give it to us or not.
Well, first on the 2 Americans and the other deceased, the president has been clear, Secretary Rubio, Steve Witkoff, Jared. I even talked to some of the families just yesterday. No one will be left behind. We will find their loved ones. And I believe you have the Nutras on the show today. So there are still 2 Americans there, and we will do everything to get them out. There's an entire task force, Brian, of senior American officials, senior American officers. Central Command has 200 troops there to help with this and with the aid facilitation, and the Israelis are absolutely focused on it. So they need heavy equipment, they need specialized gear, but we have to also understand that if this ceasefire falls apart, if the fighting starts, that's going to make it that much harder to find these loved ones and get them out. But we are at the highest levels focused on it.
I mean, I'm wondering when the Arab world that was all at that meeting in Egypt celebrating this deal will start condemning Hamas for not putting down their guns as we get to phase 2. Do you think we can count on Egypt, Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia to do what they said they were going to do?
Yeah, we do. And those world leaders stood with President Trump on the world stage as we signed his 20-point plan that only just a few weeks ago, we had Israel hit Qatar in downtown Doha, and 4 weeks later, you have the entire world standing with President Trump signing up for this deal. But yes, now it's the implementation. We're getting the aid in.
Yep.
We're getting the security force, the stabilization force established. Part of that, and one thing to understand is some of these countries need an international mandate, like through the UN, to contribute the troops. They need and want it according to their local laws or their constitution.
And
that's where we come in. We're working through all of those pieces right now as we speak.
So here's the president yesterday talking about what we're doing in Venezuela. He clearly sees a problem with that regime, and who doesn't? Watch.
I authorized for 2 reasons, really. Number one, they have emptied their prisons into the United States of America. They came in because we had an open border policy. They've allowed thousands and thousands of prisoners, mental institution, people from mental institutions, insane asylums, emptied out into the United States. And the other thing are drugs. We have a lot of drugs coming in from Venezuela. And a lot of the Venezuelan drugs come in through the sea, so you get to see that. But we're going to stop them by land also.
Also in the New York Times today, it's the Trump administration has authorized the CIA to conduct covert action in Venezuela. And it looks like that's the latest step because the president said, I am considering hitting them on land. This is an illegitimate leader. They do traffic drugs. We're targeting their boats. Where are we heading here? Because Venezuela is going to the UN Security Council, say you're violating international law.
Well, they're illegitimate leader, convicted in the Southern District of New York, but these are designated terrorist gangs. And President Trump is going to do whatever it takes and use all the tools in the toolkits from the intelligence community, from the Department of War, and of course, diplomatically to defend U.S. sovereignty against actions that are actively killing Americans. And Venezuela can bring whatever they want to the UN. You know, what's also part of the UN is Article 51 of the UN Charter that enables a country to defend itself. And that's what President Trump's doing. He's going to do. And look, the last administration, the Biden administration, just ignored the Western, I think just kind of ignored the Western hemisphere. Right. This is right here, and we will defend our sovereignty.
So tell us yesterday, just this huge story just emerged, and that is the UN's going to go forward with this biofuel demand by 2050. If you are going to be a ship, you have to use biofuel or else you're going to get 10% tax. The UK, the EU, Brazil, and China are pushing this forward. Governor DeSantis was beside himself yesterday. We spoke. You say this is a huge deal.
This is a bigger deal than I think anybody realizes. Our Secretary of Energy, Wright, Secretary Rubio, Secretary of Transportation Duffy have been loud and clear on this. The United States is a hard no. This would essentially put a global tax on everything that is involved in trade and that everything that goes on a ship.
Like green mania.
Yeah, but here's the thing, is this is trying to drive carbon emissions from shipping to zero. Meanwhile, the EU is subsidizing certain types of biofuels. And if you change out how these ships are fueled, you have to go to Chinese shipyards and Chinese ports. This is a win for the EU and their global regulatory tyranny. This is a win for China. This is a loss for the American consumer, and we're going to fight it at every turn. And this is the kind of stuff, again, the Biden administration would just kind of let this stuff go by. We are going to fight, block, and tackle. Well, right now, we're fighting hard to defeat this vote, and we're calling on every nation to stand with us.
They need 176.
But if they don't,
they need 176.
But if they don't, we're talking sanctions on some of these officials. We're talking fees on our ports and not allowing access to our market. We're not going to take this lying down.
All right, so we're going to follow that story as well as the other two. You have your hands full, Ambassador. Great to see you in studio. Hopefully, it's your frequent guest.
Thanks,
All right.
Brian.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.